You are now tuned in to the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
Mr. Anthony Handy for that wonderful introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, hello. I'm live. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe, and I hope you're all having a great weekend so far. And welcome to another episode of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. This episode is going to be a great one. It's round 32 of the NCAA tournament for Maryland women's basketball. Before we get into it, there's a few things I want to say up front. I wanted to thank Lucia Kanoa. Last Monday, did an interview with her. It was a great interview. If you've not seen the interview already, please check it out if you hadn't already. It should be right by now posted on the YouTube channel. Thanks to Rose for the Maryland basketball team for setting that up. I do have an interview coming up. I have another interview coming up this Thursday, so definitely check that out. Please like, comment, and subscribe for our future content. We're working on some more Ravens content and Commanders content, as well as some more NFL mock draft and WNBA mock draft content. So I'm not going to be too long because we got the Maryland women's basketball. It's basically an old friend, as you see in the title of the video. Coming off a win against Murray State Friday, the Maryland women's basketball team this year unfortunately did not get to host the first two rounds, and therefore is in North Carolina. Friday, they did defeat Murray State 99-67. And listen, facing a Murray State team that was fifth in the nation in scoring, the biggest thing for me was their offense. But the biggest thing that we had an advantage was their size. And I thought we did a really good job of taking that away from them. I thought we were really big. We clearly showed that in matchups. We dominated them especially on the boards, especially in the paint. Outscoring them in the paint 52-38. Rebounding 51-21. The freshmen, Kendall, Rainey, Addie, combined for for them to have their first taste and not being afraid of the moment and show and displaying their capabilities of what they bring in their first tournament game. Taking the burden off player like Saylor, Yarden, and even Alucci. That's what I like to see. Mira McLean, for me, who I think has been, as I had her on the podcast, I think has been one of the secret ingredient for this team on the defensive side. It's this team energy. Has been the spark plug. Just gave 19 points, 9 offensive rebounds. Was doing the little things that makes your team successful. Thought that was really key. And I didn't really see anything from Murray State other than Hallie Pulisic, who she was really their biggest factor. I think she was probably, if I remember correctly, look at the stats, she was the main one who was in double figures. But after probably the first quarter, that was about the game. But other than that, there was really nothing more you could really take away. I thought, like I said, rebounding was key because Maryland coming into this matchup was the 18th best rebounding team, and Murray State was around 30th. So if you look at the stats, I don't think the stats tell the story. I think matchups dictate, and I think also who you're playing. That's just my opinion. Yes, you have 30 more rebounds. That's going to tell. But again, when your tallest player on their team was 6'3", but majority of their players were all small, starting wise. So it's not going to help when you're yelling rebounding and they weren't really emphasizing. I just saw a lot of, I don't think there was really an emphasis on that in my opinion. So I thought that's what really hurt them. I thought Maryland to me has always been at getting out in transition, especially when rebounding. It doesn't matter offensively, defensively. I thought we really put an emphasis on that. For example, it doesn't matter who took a shot, but we horned in on rebounding. And I thought especially Mir, who I thought was really key on the offensive rebounds, Saylor as well. Yarden had a couple offensive rebounds in there, but everybody I thought did a great job in contributing to rebounding. But I didn't see anything else that really from once the rebounding, you took that away from Murray State, there's really nothing they could really respond to. The living by the three, dying by the three, I thought killed them. And then when you look at our guard play, asking your freshmen, such as Kendall and Addy, who I think are your the backcourt of them with Rainey, like they have been spectacular. They've had a stellar season, and giving what has been asked of them of the injuries, like Addie Mack finished with 18 points on 6-13 shooting. Like Kendall had a career high 20 points. Like her, you just see both of them getting better. Rainey Wilson, like who just like not afraid, like running the floor, different things like that. When you see three freshmen combined with 45 points, like again, not afraid at the moment. So I'm really, really proud of the girls, and it's just again not afraid at the moment. But other than that, I was not worried about this team, and I think, and shout out to Ben Messenger. He did a interview Izzy Azimamadou, and I kind of agree with the sentiments of it. And I quote, "I'm not going to lie, people are doubting us. That's cool. That gives us motivation. Keep doubting us." And I agree. I think from the injuries until now, I do think people have doubted this team. And I think from being given the 17th seed overall, I do think that's put a chip on their shoulder. And I really do think I don't think people understand. I think that's woken a sleeping giant. That's just my personal opinion. But as we're today in a little bit getting ready to play an old ACC friend, those North Carolina Tar Heels. And I think this is going to be a doozy. I think this is going to be a matchup that I think is, without a shadow of a doubt, I think going to be some great basketball. Because now we get to really see who deserved to be a top 4 seed, in my personal opinion. The last time we saw the ACC was 2014, and this should be a doozy. We're playing them on ESPN at 12 o'clock. So make sure you have your TVs on at ESPN. I will be unfortunately away. I've stepped out the house for a little while. But we're facing the Tar Heels, who finished with 27-7. They won 14 conference games. Coach Banghart, is this her 6th season coaching them? One thing that really stood out is they can kill you with their depth. And with Maryland, I still think, even with their depth, I didn't really see that on full display against Western Illinois. That's just me. But they don't have a who's their go-to player? Yeah, I mean, anybody on that roster can go off, but I think that could be a good thing, but that could be a bad thing. I think what could help is the same thing. I think this kind of gives me a little bit of cause to pause. I'm going to be curious to see how matchups dictate. One thing I noticed with Murray State, and one thing I noticed with this matchup, is size. Now, I am expecting like Izzy to have more of a presence in this matchup, especially against a player like Nia Harris, who she's been, I think, a paint beast. And especially this season, she led the Tar Heels in points and rebounds. And she's almost shot close to 60%. I think about 58%. Now, I'm curious to see how we're going to defensively match up against their guard play. They're not the best in terms of getting to the free throw line. So defensively, I expect us to bring out the Brenda special, a lot of zone press early. And also too, like, Coach Freeze is familiar with the ACC. Returning back to Chapel Hill, like, if I remember correctly, these two they've played. Coach Banghart was the coach of Princeton 2014-2015 season. I remember correctly. We beat Princeton. They're on that 31 winning streak, if I remember correctly, in the second round of the tournament, and it's gonna be interesting. Couple things for me if I'm Maryland, and maybe it was just me. I would expect the same offensive output from everybody, but my key I'm looking at is Alucci. She only played 14 minutes, and some of it I think was, I don't know if it was their speed. I don't know if it was just how certain fouls, how matchups. I don't know what kind of dictated the game, but I expect a little bit more consistency in this matchup. But the key for me is Yarden and Saylor in this matchup. I'm really curious to see how we're going to match up again with them. But I feel confident with this matchup. If we're doing all the right things, especially on the defensive side of the ball, like, we're okay. Like, balanced scoring, rebounding, I'm confident. But just coming out early, energy, all of those things, I'm confident. So really quick, I'm just getting my final score. I'm going to say we're going to go to the Sweet 16. I'm going to say 86-79.
Guaranteed.
And before I close, I just want to also say shout out to Ben, Max, Faith, and I think District of Buckets is down there as well, and as well as also Brady holding it down for Maryland women's basketball. So shout out to y'all, keep doing y'all thing down there. But it's been a great run for us. I'm proud of the ladies, but I do think you guys have I think there's some individuals that have awoken a sleeping Turpin, and it should be a great matchup. I can't wait. But I know it's going to be a sea of blue there, but I know there's going to be a sea of red as well. So it's going to be a great matchup. Can't wait. Definitely tune in for the game. But check in for a post-game recap from me later on this evening. Go Terrapins. Hope you all enjoyed the game. Hope you're all doing well. And we'll talk soon. Have a good one. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you.